old friend of mine, actually, Adrian Lomas.
Hi.
Welcome to the Mojo Life studio.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Now, Adrian, could you just explain to the viewers who you are, what you do, and
Sure.
then we'll get into a conversation about your fascinating work.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, my name's Adrian, the founder and MD of Blue Leaf. We're a digital agency, which effectively means we design and build websites. That's the sort of core thing that we provide.
Now, let's go back a little bit, because you and I worked together about 10 years ago in the same office.
Yes.
Different companies, but in the
Yes.
same office.
Yes.
Tell us how your current business got started.
Yes.
You know, how you first got into it and how it's evolved since.
Yes. Well, I remember from certainly days when I was working with yourself at Tiverington Golf Club, I remember. I was effectively a designer, and I was designing the literature, the brochures, the branding and so on. And what I enjoyed most was actually in the sort of interaction with helping and supporting people like yourself. So my role progressed really into doing more account management, and then into more of new business or bringing the business in, because that was the aspect which I really enjoyed, the people side to it, more than the actual doing of it. It was the bottom line, helping people. That's what I love to do. So that's how it really moved into that area.
Because you had a strong design
Yes, totally.
skill
Yes.
in what you did.
Yes.
But it was that interaction with the clients, understanding what they were looking for,
Yes.
getting to know them, building a relationship that you enjoyed.
Yeah, it's all about helping people for me. That's the thing that runs through me centrally, is about helping people to achieve what they want to do. And just using marketing as such, that's just a part of what helps them to do that.
So how did you move away from the more design stuff to getting into more digital marketing and the formation of Blue Leaf?
Well, the formation of Blue Leaf was around the design. I was working in an agency at the time where I'm a cyclist. I was working with British Cycling as an account, and one of the projects which was coming up was just totally up my street. But it meant that, well, it gave me an opportunity to set up on my own, and it's one of those things where you're working with people and gaining that experience. And I just got to the point where I thought, right, I can really do this on my own. We figured out the numbers with my wife Denise, and we thought, right, okay, this seems to really work. I'd got passion for the client, the project. I knew the guys involved, and so that's when we set the company up. From day one, we wanted it to be a company. We didn't want it to be sort of a freelance route. It was definitely going to be Blue Leaf right from the start. And just set the thing going, really.
Anything in the name?
Interestingly, I mean, we sat around a pub table. I mean, that's where it came from, being genuine
Where
about
all the
it.
best ideas start.
Absolutely. But there was synergies. My wife was brand manager at IBM at the time, which is the big Blue, so we got Blue from that.
Yeah.
We were very into autumn and leaves. We got married in that sort of period, and we had leaves around the wedding cake, so that's why that came into it. And it just really, it started to work really well.
Sure.
It just rolled.
Sure. Now, you were talking to me before about how the business has evolved and
yeah.
how you have grown by responding to the recession in an unusual way,
Yes.
perhaps going in a different direction to others.
Yes.
Just tell us what you mean.
Well, I think as I started out from a design and helping, the business grew that way. I think just stepping slightly further back, Andrew, we started to realise around 2006, 2005, that digital was a very important part of what we needed in our business. Now, I'm not technical, I don't build websites, so I needed to find the right people to come on board. And I found one great guy, a guy called Rob Smith, who sort of joined and helped the digital side of the business. What I really respected about the guy was that he was a real big driver, really helped to drive that side of the business forward for us. So we'd really got like our traditional business, we'd got the digital arm to it. As I'm watching the figures and watching what's going on, I'm noticing that the digital arm is getting much stronger and is a better area to be in. So I had to really think about this, that I can either stick with my comfort blanket of what I really know, which is designing and printing and all that, or I can go with what I can see is happening in my business and the marketplace. Being fair, digital is only going to go one way. It's not going backwards.
So that was the first example of you kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and going in a direction which perhaps you might not have done otherwise.
I would not have done it. I would not have done it through my knowledge, because didn't understand technically how websites worked. I understand what people use them for and what they would want out of them, so that's really, really important. It is only sort of a tool at the end of the day. But I had to look at the business and what was happening with it, and definitely the market, what was happening in the marketplace, what's happening in the world.
Yes.
And the digital arm was certainly the way that we put more energy into it, more things were coming that way. And being fair, we started then to win awards in the digital part of our business, which was a smaller element.
Yes.
But this was when I then took the strong decision to actually change the whole company, retrain the team that I'd got, and restructure it all and make us into a digital-only business. So that was to get rid of all of the old sort of designing, printing, branding, just narrow it down.
Okay, so this in some ways is the first example of going against the grain, or going against your instinct.
Yes. Because
a lot of businesses are very skeptical, not skeptical, but they're very fearful of cutting out potential business.
Yeah.
So they broaden their range. You narrowed it.
Yeah, that was our first stage of narrowing it. Yeah, I mean, it was because I was carefully watching what was happening, so it wasn't a wild leap. I could see it in my business, I could see it in the marketplace, but it was a strong decision. Quite a few people were a little hesitant into what I was doing, and it took quite a while from inquiries coming into the business of where we were still trying to grab those and trying to make them happen. And as we know, you know, if you're trying to do something, it's not as good as if you were really clear and say, look, this is our core competency.
Yeah.
So once the team had understood that, once we'd all got on board effectively, then it started to really move. We could very quickly turn those projects away, and because I'm a helper, I would help to push those on to people that it's more of their core competency. There's other great companies that can do that work better than us, so just push it straight on.
Okay, so classic case of niching, which kind of is the way that people need to go these days, and you've shown the way there.
Yes.
Cutting costs, cutting prices.
Yes.
This is what seems to have happened a lot amongst businesses in the last, since 2008, let's say.
Yes.
You've gone a different way.
Yes, in the sense that what we've done is we've narrowed everything down. What we were finding really was that a lot of people were after sort of low-end projects. So what I'm talking about as a low-end project, for example, it might be a cheaper website. They have a small budget, they want something for it. However, we want to give a very good premium service. We want to look after them, we want to account manage it, we want to give them a great delivery. Now, we can't do that compared to, say, a freelancer or a smaller company. So we realised that the smaller projects we just could not deliver on at all. We were struggling. We realised it's that old 80-20 rule that the bigger clients or the bigger projects were the ones that we enjoyed working on much more, and we could service them and it worked better within the organisation. So we took a decision after we were really focused on what we were doing to really narrow it down further into what we're really good at. So get rid of the other things that we're not as good at, which we're grasping at. What we're really good at, linked to what we're really passionate at.
Yes.
So the passion was important. And we also then started to price position it and go after what our sweet spot is. When we got that, it started to get more work coming into that sweet spot area. It meant we could really push those other projects away very, very quickly without wasting any time on
of course, because the outside world sees that that's the area you're occupying.
That's right.
You're more likely to attract that kind of stuff because people get you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which also enabled us then to speak to other people about the fact that we are now very, very niched in a digital world. It meant that other companies could effectively start to, feed that work to us. Totally right.
Okay, so you've gone against the grain of many others by niching, cutting out clients that you might otherwise try to service.
Yes.
You've aimed for a higher band of clients in terms of the scale of the jobs you're taking on.
Yes.
And you also told me another thing, that you've embraced your competitors.
Yes.
Sounds very friendly.
Well, again, it links around to me and sort of my inner core of helping people. I think it's worked in several ways, really, is that the fact that I've always felt that our industry is quite closed off. And I think we do find that in many industries, being fair. we don't speak to our competitors. I was at a networking event one day, and I saw one of my competitors who was talking to somebody I knew, and my instinct at that time was just to walk away. And I thought, that's really stupid. I think I should just go and shake hands and respect the guy, and I did that. And we swapped cards, and we said, well, maybe we should just hook up. So we did that, and a few weeks later we hooked up and had coffee. And I was just driving back home, back to the office. I got a phone call saying, actually, like what you're saying about how you're focused on the design and build, we've got a client which we've got, but we can't really build it. Why don't we join forces on it? So turn the car around, go back, and that was the start of a relationship which was prior to that what I perceived as a competitor, but now we were able to combine forces and do a really successful job.
Now, you also mentioned before this little professional organisation you've set up. Tell us more about that.
Chimps.
Chimps.
Chimps. We have a Chimps Tea Party. It's Cheshire's media professional, whatever it is. But it's effectively it's where we get together the owners, founders of digital and creative businesses. We get together about every 2 months, and we effectively, we're not there to sell or do anything. We're just there to help and support each other. So we go for a few beers and a meal and so on, talk about what's happening in the industry, and from that we're finding that because of our positioning, we've made it very clear to people. They realise that they're either in a different space, but we're sometimes speaking to very similar clients where, again, we can feed off each other.
Yeah.
It's helping some of those guys as well to niche down and narrow down. So it's just really working quite well. It's gone within 6 months. I mean, the first one we had 6 people there, and it was nice and cosy. The next one we had about 18. We got the next one in about 2 weeks' time. We've got about 30, 40 people on board to come to it. It's not money making. It's just go and have a get together and talk about our industry, and it's a great little vehicle for that.
And finally, you've hired a cheerleader.
Yes. Well, yeah. It was an interesting thing because we took Debs on probably about a year and a half ago as effectively really just to help us to generate new business.
Yes.
And I think as soon as you say the words new business, you create a picture in your mind of what a new business person is. So I felt that this was really detrimental to her. It was making her feel heavier from that as a job role. It's a horrible title when you meet people. And so I thought, well, really, what's the opposite of that? I've done so many opposite things in the business, with pricing, niching, and so on. So we took the job role really into, something that pulls people towards them. It's more like a cheerleader. And Debs is just such a jolly person who just likes talking. And not only that, tweeting and blogging and doing all of that aspect is just what she is passionate about.
So she's really creating a lot of energy, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Wherever she goes, she's not going out to sell. She's just going out to talk and listen to people. Yes. She's not technical. She doesn't understand how to make sites or anything like that. But she just builds relationships. And as you all know, it's all about relationships. It's not business to business. It's people to people. So if we've got a cheerleader raving about Blue Leaf, it just captivates other people. They want to be around us, and if we can help them in one way or another, if it's through us, great. If it's not, it's through some of these other companies. It's just all moving it in a positive way.
Sure. Now you've gone great guns in the last 10 years since I've known you, and I've watched your progress with great pleasure to see how your business has grown. And I think you're a great model and an inspiration for others who are thinking of growing a business or indeed starting a business.
Thank you.
Where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
With Blue Leaf? Yeah, Blue Leaf we've created. It's so interesting, really. That my belief is that most people actually plan their holidays better than they plan their life. They all sort of know which sort of hotel and probably even which room more or less they're going to stay in. So they get flights and everything, the days, what they're going to wear. But in life, so many people don't really plan it as well, and it's the same in business. But what we've done is create our own roadmap for Blue Leaf. It's sit down with a question which is in the future, so nobody can take it away from us. It's something we would like to achieve, And then from there, we've pegged everything back. What makes that happen in our world? Since we've done that, it's helped us to move towards it.
Sounds very Covey-esque to me.
It is. It's totally. I mean,
and that's Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer to bring in experts to help you at any stage. You know, I do know that, you know, I think everybody in business is making it up as they go along. I think it's really good to bring in some people that have probably been there, seen it, done it in some way, not identical, but bring them in and their expertise. So Covey is a great fun.
Starting with the end in mind.
Absolutely. So what we've done with that is we've created a roadmap. We've then created a compass which all of the team can use, and I don't mean literally, but it's a heading, and it's a question. It's a simple question, which is, what would the best digital agency in the world do right now?
Yes.
And so all of my team will be asking, because they've got it big up on the wall, it's the compass heading which drives us along with the map, but every single one of my team is able therefore to actually ask that question and make sure that we are heading true north.
Yes.
It's not do a bad service, it's not, you know, be late, it's good service, be on time, you know, good coffees when people come in, look after people. Every little thing in the business, it links round to the compass heading, which links to the map.
Sure.
So where are we going was the question. We are going towards every day being the best digital agency in the world. It will never stop. It's a journey, but we're going that way. That's where we're going.
Well, I wish you every success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.